Being a coach can be challenging at times. For example, every member of your team is incredibly talented when it comes to the knockouts. When Jeremy Keith and Mike Steele squared off on The Voice Battle of Champions, coach Adam Levine had to make the difficult decision of who should go home and who should be in the top 9. After their performances, Levine leaned down and turned to face his fellow coaches, John Legend and Kelly Clarkson, whispering, "Help me, help me." Unfortunately for Levine, they were equally conflicted. "That was very close," Legend remarked. Clarkson said to the two artists, "Oh my gosh, how are you going to choose? You're both so phenomenal." Then she said to Levine, "This is horrible. You're screwed." Levine bemoaned, pleading, "John, help me. This is hard for you. Just think about how hard it is for me." Levine was able to distinguish between the artists based on their strengths and shortcomings because to Legend, one was possibly a better voice, while the other possessed the intangibles that make a performer captivating. Levine told host Carson Daly, "I thought they were great and they should both stay. It's really tough," as he struggled to decide. "I'm not sure. This is terrible because I genuinely adore you both and I think you should be on the show and on my team. I also don't like this." Levine finally selected Keith as the winner, sighing deeply. Michael Bublé, the coach of The Voice, criticized the difficulty of the show's coaching choices just one season prior. "You understand that we don't know what we're going to do," Bublé said on the last night of season 28 of Knockouts. "It's quite challenging. Online, you're going to say that Bublé doesn't know anything, even though he's incredibly handsome. And plus, we know you're judging us," the audience was informed. He had joked, "You know what's amazing, you guys?" during the battles, essentially saying the same thing. "No matter what I decide to do, online we will be killed if we make the wrong decision. 50% of people will say, 'You idiot.'" Levine seems to be under similar strain. Keep going, guys. On The Voice, there are moments that transcend music. There are times when the stage, the lights, and even the vocals become insignificant, leaving you with something unadulterated and human. Adam Levine, who is typically self-assured and witty, sat back in his chair, appeared distressed, and muttered, "Help me," before making what he subsequently described as a really tough decision. It wasn't really loud. It wasn't dramatic in the conventional sense. However, it was strong. For once, the coach who was usually talking had no idea what to do. The weight of the chair. Being a coach on The Voice appears to be an ideal job from the outside. You assemble a squad while sitting in a big red chair and listening to amazing singers. However, the emotional weight associated with that function is sometimes overlooked by viewers. Every choice is important. Adam Levine is not merely responding to a performance when he turns his chair, he's committing to something. "I believe in you," he is saying, and that belief is put to the ultimate test when it comes time to make cuts, because someone is returning home regardless of the circumstances. The pre-decision moment. It wasn't very silent on stage. During elimination rounds on The Voice, there is a particular kind of silence. It is not vacant, it weighs a much. Anticipation, dread, hope, and a peculiar silence that only arises when everyone is waiting for something transformative to occur are present. Adam listened, pondered, and considered everything as he sat there. In front of him were two competitors. They are both gifted, both worthy. They are both carrying dreams that had led them to this same place, and he had to pick one. That's when it took place. "Help me," in a quiet, almost uncontrollable murmur. A seldom-seen look at vulnerability. Adam Levine's self-assurance has always been well known. He has years of experience playing in front of large audiences, making difficult decisions, and handling the spotlight as the frontman of Maroon 5. He frequently portrayed the astute coach on The Voice. In order to win over contestants, he made short, witty pitches, joked, teased, and competed. But all of that vanished in that instant. Instead, we witnessed vulnerability. Not the kind that's staged or made up for television, the authentic sort, the kind that emerges when you genuinely care about someone and don't want to hurt them. Why it was so difficult. You must understand the gravity of the decision Adam was faced in order to understand why he whispered, "Help me." Selecting the singer with superior technical skills was not the goal. It came down to picking between two individuals he had supported, encouraged, and believed in. He had interacted with them, heard what they had to say, watched their growth, celebrated their accomplishments. Now he had to inform one of them that their adventure was coming to an end. Experience doesn't make that easy. The illusion of authority. Adam is required to make decisions in his role as a coach, assured, in charge. However, moments like these highlight the reality that not everything is under your control. Talent is personal, emotions are erratic, and there isn't always a right answer. There's only a choice, and that's why it's so difficult, because every choice feels like a gamble when there's no clear solution. The human aspect of competition. Competition is a common theme on reality shows. Winners, losers, success, failure. However, these instances serve as a reminder that there is a human behind every act, a person with a story, dreams, and fears. Adam's whisper was more than just making a decision. It was about acknowledging the human cost of that decision. He wasn't just removing a competitor, he was influencing someone's path, and that matters. The silence that followed. There was a pause after the whisper, long enough to feel, but not very long. Adam looked at the two competitors. It was evident in his look. The pause, the struggle, the weight of the decision was bearing on him. He didn't see this as a game. It was real. Then he said something. Making the decision. Adam didn't make his choice with confidence or style. It was cautious, measured, respectful, because he knew its significance. He acknowledged both contestants, their talent, their growth, their existence. He made it clear that making the decision wasn't easy, because it wasn't. You could still feel the weight of the decision even after it was made. The aftermath. Relief, thankfulness, and perhaps even a hint of guilt were experienced by the candidate who stayed. The candidate who left experienced uncertainty, heartbreak, and disappointment. Adam, too, he experienced both. That's the problem with being in that situation. You can feel multiple emotions. You feel happiness when you help someone move forward, and also the anguish of sending someone home, simultaneously. The significance of that whisper. It's easy to miss something as minor as a whisper in a show full of spectacular performers and emotional moments, but that whisper was significant because it made something real visible. It showed that uncertainty can affect even someone as experienced and self-assured as Adam Levine. It showed that having a strong sense of compassion didn't make decisions easier, they make them harder. And it reminded viewers that Coach is a human person. Compared to his usual persona, the fact that the experience was so different from Adam's usual self contributed to its power. He frequently makes the fastest recovery, the confident pitch, the lighthearted competition with Blake Shelton and other coaches. He loves the competitive atmosphere of the show. But competition was subordinate at that point. Winning wasn't the goal. It was about doing the right thing, and not knowing what that was. The stress of being observed. On a show like The Voice, every moment is enhanced. There are millions of viewers. Every decision, every word, every expression is recorded and shared. That makes the pressure even further. Adam wasn't just having to make a tough decision, he was doing it in front of everyone. Even then, his response was honest. He didn't hide it. He didn't cover it with humor or diversion. He accepted the situation as it was. A leadership lesson. Giving advice is only one aspect of being a coach. It's about making decisions, tough decisions. And moments like this show what true leadership looks like. It's not always confident. It's sometimes uncertain. It's not always detached. It's sentimental, even uncomfortable, but it's truthful. And honesty fosters trust. The connection with the audience. These kinds of situations resonate with viewers because they are recognizable. Maybe not in the same situation, but in the emotion. Everyone has had to make a tough decision at some point, where there was no perfect answer, where we hoped someone could just give us directions. Help me. It's a simple phrase, but it has a lot of weight. It feels universal when you hear someone like Adam Levine say it. The unspoken understanding. The silence of the moment also had a tremendous impact. Not a single song, Not a big build-up, just a whisper. It was real, and that kind of simplicity stands out in a show that is often larger than life. It creates a connection that doesn't need explanation. Growth through difficulty. Moments like these aren't just a part of the show for Adam. They contribute to his growth as a coach. Every tough decision he makes influences how he approaches the next one. It broadens his understanding of what it means to inspire, to guide, and to support artists. And it reminds him that the role comes with responsibilities. Beyond the stage. The events of The Voice don't stay on stage. Contestants continue their journeys, build audiences, and pursue careers. Adam's decisions impact that, and he knows it. That's why he takes them seriously. That's why moments like the whisper happen, because the outcome matters to him. Why people remember it. There are innumerable performances on The Voice, amazing voices, songs that will never be forgotten. But people remember these kinds of situations differently. They don't involve sound, they involve